Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. I'm in my new apartment. I moved a couple days ago. Sorry for not being around for those few days. I have not finished setting up this room or anything yet, as you can likely see. It is a work in progress, but today we finally got hero talents. Soul Harvester is the last hero talents that were, I guess, yet not unveiled for Warlock. They are now here, and Alpha is likely, I would assume, hitting tomorrow. Today we got a lot of information on what's happening more within all the above. Warlock didn't get any core spec changes, or I guess class tree changes either way, but hero talents are here. So tonight, want to cover, I guess today, still light outside, want to cover Soul Harvester, the AF demo tree, probably the most in-depth tree, the most involved one. Give my thoughts on it, if I like it or not, and I guess give some feedback on all that. So with all that being said, let's get into it. All right, so getting right into Soul Harvester. This is the Affliction Demonology Warlock tree, and it is, I would say, likely the most in-depth tree we have. Complicated, not like in a bad way, the most involved tree out of Diabolist, Hellcaller, and Soul Harvester being here. So, like Diabolist and Hellcaller, it builds upon the first node. It's basically a new ability, and it just builds upon that in talents heading down the tree further. So, Demonic Soul. A demonic entity now inhabits your soul, allowing you to detect if a soul shard has a succulent soul when it's generated. There are a lot of terminology. There's a lot of terminology in this tree. Soul, demonic soul, succulent souls, empowered souls. It's hard to keep track of, while I'll try and explain it to y'all as best as I can. But chances are high, you should probably go check it out on Wowhead and look at it yourself, because there's a lot. So Affliction. A succulent soul empowers your next rapture, making it basically cost no shards, reducing cost by 1, increasing damage by 20%, and unleashing your demonic soul. So Succulent Soul is the actual ability that causes the shard to be empowered or whatever. And then it unleashes a demonic soul, which I visualize as like a Metamorphosis, Demonology, Warlock, whatever. That's some kind of shadow thing coming out that does additional damage to your target, right? Demonology, 1 less shard cost a Hand Gul'dan, so likely 2. And also it spawns 1 extra imp. Now I would venture to guess the reason that they did 1 and 1 is due to Pact of the Imp Mother scaling, random abilities here and there, RNG of Demo. Probably one of the two went that way for a reason. And the same thing, it spawns a demonic soul, which does shadow damage, right? Whenever you have an empowered soul shard. Now, there are different ways to, I guess, acquire these succulent soul shards for AF and Demo, and they're built upon by abilities like Soul Anathema, right? Unleashing your demonic soul. Demonic soul is the thing that procs from spending the soul shard on Hand Gul'dan or Rapture, or I guess casting the ability essentially, right? Unleashing your demonic soul bestows a fiendish entity under the soul of your targets, dealing shadow damage over 10 seconds. So the way I envision it is the demonic soul just spawns and does damage, right? Whenever you cast the empowered Rapture or the empowered Hand. And then it also applies a dot in addition to that for 10 seconds through Soul Anathema, right? To the left here, we have Necrolite Teachings. Shadow Bolt and Drain Soul damage increased by 20%. Nightfall increases the damage of Shadow Bolt and Drain Soul by an additional 50. It is baseline 25% in game. So there's that. I assume 79% now. I assume 75% now. I can't talk today. Whenever this ability is taken. In Demonology, Shadow Bolt damage increased by 20. Power Siphon increases Demon Bolt by 20 additionally whenever you siphon. Now over here we have Demoniac's Fervor. Your demonic soul deals 100% increased damage to targets, once again, S, plural, affected by your unstable affliction. Very likely due to the fact that you're still playing the 3-way talent in PvP, which is why it's worded like this. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Don't know. But either way, it is basically a weird, contagion, focused prior damage spell that, has your soul do more damage to your UA target. It feels good. Solid. In Demonology, your demonic soul deals more damage to your target hit by your Hand Gul'dan. Your main target hit by Hand Gul'dan, not the splash damage, right? I also want to hit on here when it comes to demonic soul. So I would like to see them add Seed of Corruption to Affliction here. Because it might be a bit awkward having to Rapture in the middle of Seed spam in Mythic Plus or AoE settings. I mean, it is a free Rapture. It might just stay that way because it does spawn an entity regardless, a demonic soul, whatever it's called. But it'd be cool to see them add Seed to this, similar to tier bonuses and things in the past where they added Seed to it. I think adding Seed here would be cool for Affliction. Demo's probably fine where it's at. Moving on from there, so we have Shared Fate and Feast of Souls. When you kill a target, its tortured soul is flung into a nearby enemy for 3 seconds. This effect inflicts shadow damage to enemies within 10 yards every 0.8 seconds. So this reminds me, this feels like a dot-based soul flame, if that makes sense, right? Whenever you kill a target, Basically, it applies a dot to a nearby enemy for 3 seconds. Yeah, and it does damage to enemy. This effect inflicts shadow damage to enemies. So it might just like pulse damage every 0.8 seconds. So it pulses 5 times. 8, 1, 6, 2, 4, 3. 8, 1, 6, 2, 4. Yeah. So I mean, it pulses a bit. I don't know. Maybe a bit more, a little less. Who knows? But it pulses a bit, like a dot-based soul flame. Now, I'm curious here if the actual dot itself jumps multiple times. If that one target dies, that procs it, and the target it jumped to dies again, or if it just fades. At the same time, does it apply multiple dots? If 2 targets die at once, how does it work? I'm not really sure. Got to test it out. Feast of Souls. When you kill a target, you have a chance to generate a soul shard. That is guaranteed to be a succulent soul. So a lot of this just depends on what the chance is whenever you kill a target, right? Now, this is both a succulent soul, like shard generation, or I guess like a generation ability to generate succulent souls for demonic soul, but at the same time, it also gives you a chance to generate a soul shard when you kill a target. And that's for demo or AF. This is a lot more applicable, impactful, I guess both. I was gonna say applicable, but I mean, that's a hybridization of both words. For affliction, with shard gen being a bit of an issue, right? Now you obviously have this free rapture, essentially whenever you get a succulent soul proc, which helps with dread touch uptime and things like that, and shard gen. But whenever you kill a target, you have a chance of generating a shard that is then guaranteed to be a succulent soul. But also at the same time, when targets are dying as affliction, you're typically drain souling them. You have a UA on target that dies, it'll give you a shard back. So I would like the Feast of Souls to maybe just be like based around when you cast Drain Soul, you have a chance to generate a soul shard that is guaranteed to be a succulent soul. So like you channeling a drain, maybe whenever it ticks, you have like a 5% chance to generate a soul shard. But at the same time, I get the fact that both these abilities are based around killing a target. Thematically, it makes sense. Flavor-wise, makes sense. But I feel like when it comes to like just putting aside the succulent soul like proc from this and just looking at the shard generation from an AF POV, it's nice to have some. But the times you're least looking for shards is likely at the end of a pack and plus when you're draining things for the next pack and having your UA mob die and giving you a shard back, right? So we'll see where it goes. But 2 cool abilities. I like it. I need to test with them more and see where they're at. Over here we have Eternal Servitude. Failed Domination cooldown reduced by 120. It's a 180 cooldown baseline, so a minute cooldown. It's nice. Quality of life, I guess. Sure, that's cool. Sure. Spirited Away. I know it's an anime movie. I think I haven't seen it, but I know it's a thing. Burning Rush no longer deals damage to you and increases movement speed by an additional 30%. It's baseline 50, so it'll be 80 with this ability. Burning Rush now has a 50-second cooldown, however, and lasts only 6 seconds. So the question here is, would you rather have Burning Rush with double Fiendish Stride to have a 60% Burning Rush that does damage to you, but less damage due to Fiendish Stride, but have no cooldown and last forever, or a 50-second cooldown that lasts 6 seconds and gives you a larger speed increase, but does no damage to you? I'm going to lean toward probably just playing Burning Rush the way it is with Fiendish Stride. It being a permanent effect if you want it to be, all that kind of stuff. I think it'd be really cool if they made Spirited Away maybe allow spells to be cast while moving. That would make you take Spirited Away. For sure. Might be a little OP, I guess, but at the same time, I don't really think so. Because, I mean, like, you have Hover around, you have Spirit Arcus Grace, you have mages have like 85 stacks of Icy Flows whenever they want. It'd be cool, and it would make this ability like worthwhile in certain spots. Might be like a niche fight where you want this, but overall probably not, due to like how Burning Rush and Fiendish Stride are, unless they nerf Fiendish Stride, something along those lines. So we'll see where it goes, but 2, I guess, cool, utility-based abilities. Over here we have Gorebound Fortitude. I thought it was Gore Fiend's Fortitude, by the way. This is a cool one. You always gain the benefit of Soul Burn when consuming a Health Stone. So it gives you a 30% healing increase for the Health Stone and increases your max health by 20% for 12 seconds. It's actually pretty impactful. It'll save you a shard from Soul Burning a Health Stone, and in general, it's pretty strong. Friends in Dark Places is interesting. So Dark Pact now shields you for an additional 50% of the sacrificed health. Now I'm curious if this is an anti-synergy. I'm going to hop over in game here with Acre of Devils. I've been playing this more due to playing Blue Silk and Lightning lately. I like it a lot, but it only sacks 5% of your health, not 20% like what Dark Pact normally sacks. I would venture to guess they probably coded this in a smart way where it's like, all right, cool. It just works and you can stack it like stack 5%, which would be 20 for a larger shield regardless. But gotta see where that goes. But both are pretty solid. If that's the case, Dark Pack's gonna be massive, dude. It's gonna be huge either way. But both are pretty impactful here. Moving on to the other DPS nodes here. Sat Tails Ambition. Someone told me this is the first person to have the Uthalesh staff, I think, in Legion, something like that, lore-wise. I don't know. Cool. Seems pretty sick. Damage dealt by your demonic soul is increased by 10%. Demonic soul being this thing when it spawns as damage. I don't believe it is an increase to soul anathema, the dot it puts up, but it could be. I don't know. Consuming Nightfall or demonic core for affliction and demonology feeds the demonic entity within you, causing it to appear and deal shadow damage to your target. I'm assuming your demonic entity is a different version of this. Because it says, like, it mentions, where is that here? Like, a demonic entity now inhabits your soul, allowing you to detect if a soul shard is succulent or whatever. But they mentioned demonic soul under affliction in demonology here. I think you are part of the demonic entity. This tree is sort of confusing with, like, the terminology that it has, but I think this demonic entity is from you, and it does different damage comparatively to the demonic soul and the soul anathema dot from the demonic soul. I think. I don't know. But either way, it's cool. You cast a lot more demonic cores than you do Nightfalls or Affliction. Now, there are some abilities, I guess Nightfall-based Drain Souls, but there are some abilities that build upon Nightfall, though. For example, Mantle of the Harvester. Corruption deals damage 25% faster, and Haunt grants Nightfall. So that's nice. Whenever you cast Haunt every 15 seconds or so, you get a Nightfall proc. They also can just stack in general. That's nice. You're going to cast more demonic core still likely than Nightfalls, but there could be a higher chance of Nightfall. Maybe they tweak it and tune it. I don't know, but we'll see where that goes. It should be higher either way with Mantle of the Harvester. Demonology, Wild Imp damage increased by 5%, and Wild Imps that are imploded have an additional 5% chance to grant a demonic core. This is old Spiteful Recon, or I think it's Bloodbound Imps is what it was, yeah. Bloodbound Imps. So it's cool. Solid. It'll make AF feel better with more Nightfall procs and all that, smooth it out a little bit. So it's nice. We have this here, I think it's Quietus? I don't know. I knew this word from Magic back in the day. I don't know. I think I mispronounced it, but who cares? Either way, Soul Anathema damage increased by 25% and is dealt 20% faster. So it's this, right? Damage increased to this, and it deals damage 20% faster. So basically, I would assume 8 seconds instead of 10, right? Consuming Nightfall, which once again you get from Haunt, or it's in general also regular Nightfall procs from in-game. You can see it right here. This is Nightfall from Corruption Ticks and all that, right? Will give you, or Demonic Core, activates Shared Fate or Feast of Souls. Shared Fate or Feast of Souls is this. So whichever one you choose, it will activate this. It doesn't say it's a chance, it says it does activate this. So whenever you cast a Demonic Core or cast a Nightfall-based Drain Soul or Shadow Bolt, whatever it is, it should guarantee an activation of this. And if that's the case, I'm very curious how it works with Feast of Souls and single target, comparatively to like Shared Fate, because Feast of Souls is a chance, but this makes it guaranteed. So, and with also this making Corruption do damage faster, which means more frequent Nightfall procs, and Haunt giving you a Nightfall proc chance also. It's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Yeah, so you can see how like involved this tree is compared to Diabolus, where it's just like, yo, bring down big pets, destroy stuff, cool. And Hellcaller is like, yo, you have Wither, it becomes acute and flares up, it's very cool, but yeah, there's that. And finally, the capstone, Shadow of Death. Soul Rot grants Shadow of Death for 15 seconds. So this does reference Soul Rot. Soul Rot, for those that don't know or whatever, is one of our end tier, like I guess minor capstones. It is a talent. They might end up moving Soul Rot somewhere in the tree. It seems like it seems a little odd making you have to choose Soul Rot to have your like capstone be a thing, even though you likely play it either way. We'll see where it goes. While Shadow Death is active, casting Malefic Rapture always invokes your demonic soul, and your demonic soul deals 10% increased damage. So keep in mind, demonic soul is part of this, but invoking your demonic soul, I don't believe invoking your demonic soul gives you the shard cost reduction or the damage increase. I'm pretty sure it just summons the demonic soul, like the Shadow Fiend, whatever it is, comes out and attacks, right? And then it should come out, do its damage, and then apply Soul Anathema, which is reduced further by some other talent we looked at a minute ago here, right? And does 10% more damage, right? Now, when it comes to Demonology, Nether Portal and Summon Demonic Tyrant grant Shadow of Death for 15 seconds. Now, the terminology here is interesting. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that Warlock is going to get some spec tree changes. And Nether Portal Tyrant is going to be a choice node between those two cooldowns. They might not be, I don't know, but someone in chat brought it up earlier as well. I think chances are relatively high because they've referenced like Nether Portal and Tyrant in this fashion, like a few ways already with different hero talents and Diabolos. And I'm curious if it's going to be a choice node. It sounds like it's going to be. And while it's active, casting Hand of the Gul'dan always invokes your Demonic Soul, and your Demonic Soul deals 10% increased damage. So this also, in a sense, like feeds into the potential one shard spam Hand of Gul'dan more often sequencing, because it will basically always provoke your Shadow of Death or convoke it, whatever you're calling it, whenever you cast Hand of Gul'dan. It's not based on the number of shards you spend. It's like whenever you cast Hand of Gul'dan. So it's interesting. Get us where that goes. It also does feed into that portal playstyle if they want it, which maybe that's what they're going for here as well. Could be. I don't know. Seems interesting. But overall, I think this tree is pretty good. It's just very involved. Yeah, not in a bad way. Just a lot of like new terminology and unique interactions with like Nightfall and everything else here we need to get a hold of. Once we do, I think it's a pretty good tree. It's cool. It's fun. I also need to see if Soul Anathema gives bonus damage to Rapture. I doubt it does. And does it stack? Because you're going to be like provoking or convoking whatever multiple demonic souls here, which is probably going to apply multiple versions of Soul Anathema. But if it doesn't stack, it's much less impactful. I would assume it stacks. I don't know if it counts towards Rapture, but either way, this tree is pretty cool. I like it a lot. And I guess we'll see where it goes. Over the next few days, now that we have all three trees out, I'm going to make a video probably hitting on every tree, like in one video, hitting on all three, talking about feedback and my thoughts on them and all that. And then some videos probably coming out, depending on alpha and things if we get in early and all that, looking at specs and how they feel for each spec and what's better and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is that. But overall, Soul Harvester, I give it like a solid, I give it a B. It's one of those things you got to play with really to feel, understand, and grasp. But I think for Warlock, looking at all three trees we've gotten, the trees are good. I like them. I'm just curious about the actual spec trees and what they're going to change. Well, maybe in later builds, because right now, Warlock went live without any spec tree changes. But we'll see. It is almost the first build of alpha. So thanks for watching, guys. Wraps it up. And hopefully, if you had any questions on Soul Harvester, we're looking for like general thoughts or anything on it, well, maybe this video helped. Like I said, I think it's a pretty good tree. It's not as fun as Diabolos and the footage we've seen from alpha today. Hopefully, maybe we get an invite tomorrow. I can show you guys firsthand, but I think the tree is good. It depends on tuning, depends on proc rates and things a good bit, but it seems, it feels like it's more affliction based than it is demo based in a sense, which I mean, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. Diabolos feels more demo based. Hellcaller feels a bit more AF based, which I mean, looking at how Soul Harvester feels more AF based as well, well, we already talked about this a bit with like, not being very Destro themed, I guess, but either way, I think they're all pretty good trees, honestly. The big thing is seeing if class tree tuning comes, or I guess changes comes. Class tree, spec tree, because like I think the bigger issues lie in like Dread, Touch, Doom, Blossom, Siphon Life, Absolute Corruption nodes, and other ones for Demo and, well, Destro. So, like always, any weak horrors add-ons, if you see them here, links to Twitch and Discord down below if you want them for free. They are there for you guys. At the same time, a huge shout out, like always, all my patrons for all supporting Patreon. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you a million times. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, it should be linked up here, as well as down below in the video description. Now, like I said, there is no alpha today. I'm venturing to guess the first wave of alpha invites goes out tomorrow. And I mean, hopefully we're in that. That'd be sick. Love to play it. If that's true and it happens, I'll be streaming it live on Twitch. If not, I will be watching somebody else play it. But hopefully that's the case. We were in the last few alphas in the first wave, and there's a lot to cover. I mean, Hero Towns look good. I'm pumped to play Diabolist. Hopefully we can get some gameplay footage for y'all soon as well. And go from there. Before we know it, honestly, man, we're going to be in Warthin. I'm excited. I'm pumped. I hope you guys are too. All that being said, thanks for watching, guys. And I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.